The child was about to drink when the old man stopped him. Not with a shout, not with anger, only with one hand, raised slowly in the morning air. The river was right there, moving between stones, bright under the weak light of dawn. After a long walk through dry ground, it looked like mercy. The child could see the sky inside it. He could see the soft shine of the surface. To tired eyes, it looked clean. It looked safe. It looked like life. But the old man was not looking at the water first. He was looking at the mud. Near the riverbank, fresh tracks crossed over one another. Deer had come before sunrise. Wild pigs had pushed through the wet ground. Birds had landed in the reeds. And near the edge, deeper than the rest, were the prints of something heavier. Something that had arrived in the dark and left before the sun rose. The water was close. The group needed it. But no one drank yet. In the ancient world, a river was never just a river. It was a place where life gathered, and wherever life gathered, danger came with it. Today, water reaches us quietly. It comes through pipes, filters, bottles, and taps. We drink it without studying the ground around it. We do not ask what animal touched it. We do not wonder what died upstream. We do not smell it with caution or watch the birds before lowering our mouth to it. Clean water, for us, feels like a normal part of life. But for early humans, clean water was not normal. It was not guaranteed. It was not protected by hidden systems working behind the walls. It had to be found, judged, carried, and remembered. And even then, it could betray them. This is what made water one of the most serious problems in ancient survival. Not because humans did not know they needed it. They knew that better than anyone. Thirst was one of the strongest forces in their world. It weakened the legs, dried the mouth, slowed the mind, and changed the way people made decisions. A strong hunter could become unsteady by afternoon. A mother carrying a child could begin to fall behind. An old person could lose the strength to keep moving. Hunger could wait for a while. Thirst could not. That pressure pushed people toward rivers, springs, ponds, and muddy low places before they could always be sure those places were safe. This was the cruel part of the problem. The body demanded water quickly, but the land demanded caution. Drink too fast, and sickness could follow. Wait too long, and weakness could break the group before night. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the hidden survival stories of ancient humans. A riverbank looked peaceful only from a distance. Up close, it was full of signs. Broken reeds, stirred mud, insects gathering on the surface, the sharp smell of wet earth mixed with animal waste. A feather caught between stones. A dead fish near the edge. Water that moved too slowly. Water that looked clear but had passed through unknown places before reaching them. Early people did not have the modern words for bacteria, parasites, or infection. But they knew the results. They had seen what happened after someone drank from the wrong pool. At first, there was relief. The throat softened. The body felt saved. Then, hours later, the stomach began to twist. Pain came. Vomiting followed. Diarrhea drained the body. The person who drank to fight thirst became more thirsty than before. In our world, sickness can often be treated. In their world, it could change everything. A sick person did not suffer alone. Ancient groups were small, and every body mattered. If one hunter became weak, there was less food. If one mother became sick, a child was in danger. If an elder could not walk, the whole group slowed down. Someone had to carry extra tools. Someone had to stay close at night. Someone had to give up part of their own strength to protect the weak. And weakness was dangerous. It made movement slower. It made hunting harder. It made the group easier to follow. Predators noticed weakness. Other human groups may have noticed it too. One bad drink could become a problem for everyone. That is why water was never only a drink. It was a decision. The older people in a group carried a kind of knowledge that could not be written down. They remembered which springs stayed cold after the dry season. They remembered which pools made children sick. They remembered which river bends became muddy after rain. They remembered where animals gathered too heavily, where insects were too thick, and where people had once suffered after drinking. A young person learned this not through lessons, but through watching. He saw where the elders stopped. He saw where they refused to drink, even when everyone was thirsty. He saw them smell the water, touch the mud, look upstream, and choose a different place. Sometimes they did not explain. They simply moved on. In that silence was the weight of memory. Survival was often passed down this way, not in long speeches, but in small acts repeated over years. Wait here. Do not drink there. Avoid that pool after heat. Trust the spring below the rocks. Do not camp too close to the river at night. Watch the birds. Watch the animals. Watch the mud. To modern eyes, this may look like simple instinct. But it was more than instinct. It was generations of experience carried inside human behavior. The riverbank itself was a trap of balance. A group had to stay near water, but not too near. Too far, and daily walks to drink would waste strength. Too close, and animals would come into the same space. At night, the bank could change. The calm place of morning could become a hunting path after sunset. Deer came to drink. Wild pigs came to dig. Birds came to feed. Snakes stayed near reeds and stones. In some regions, crocodiles waited under still water, almost invisible until the last moment. Large predators knew that thirsty animals returned again and again. The same river that helped humans survive also guided danger toward them. So an ancient camp had to be placed with care, close enough for water, far enough for safety, high enough to avoid sudden floods, open enough to see movement, hidden enough to avoid enemies. This was not random living. It was constant judgment, and the water itself changed with time. A safe place in one season could become dangerous in another. After heavy rain, a river could carry rot, mud, waste, and dead things from far away. During dry seasons, pools could shrink and grow warm. The less water there was, the more animals crowded around what remained. A clean source could become dirty in only days. This meant ancient people could not trust a place forever. They had to keep reading it. The land was not a map printed once. It was a living thing that changed. Moving water was often preferred over still water, but it was not a perfect answer. A flowing stream could still carry danger from upstream. A clear spring could be safer, especially if it came cold from underground, but even then, the area around it mattered. Was the ground clean? Were animals standing in it? Was the flow steady? Did the smell change? Were insects gathering? There was no simple rule that always worked. There was only caution. Over time, fire gave humans another way to fight the danger. Fire had already changed the human story. It gave warmth in cold nights. It gave light after sunset. It kept some animals away. It changed meat and made food easier to chew and digest. But fire also opened a path toward safer water. Heating water could reduce the invisible threats inside it. But this was not as easy as it sounds. Today, we place water in a metal pot and turn on a stove. Early humans did not always have pottery or metal. They had to use what the land gave them. Some used hot stones. Stones were placed inside a fire until they became very hot. Then they were lifted carefully and dropped into water held in a wooden bowl, an animal skin, a bark container, or a pit lined with material. One hot stone was not enough. Stone after stone carried heat into the water. Slowly, the water warmed. Sometimes it boiled. This was clever, but it took effort. It required fuel, time, the right stones, and a safe place to stop. A group moving through open land could not always do it. People under pressure could not always wait. If the sun was high and thirst was strong, they might still drink before water could be heated. This is what makes ancient survival difficult to understand from a modern life. We often imagine that once humans discovered a method, the problem was solved. But ancient life did not work that way. A useful method was not always available. A good idea still needed the right place, the right tools, and enough time. Containers also changed the story. Once humans could carry water, they gained freedom from the riverbank. Animal skins, gourds, shells, bark vessels, and later pottery allowed groups to move water away from dangerous places. This meant they could sleep farther from predators. They could cross dry ground. They could protect children and elders. They could choose camps more carefully instead of staying where animals gathered. But stored water had its own danger. A dirty container could spoil it. Warm water could turn bad. Old water could smell strange. A skin bag might save a group during travel, but it also needed care. Again, there was no perfect safety. Every solution created another responsibility. Water also shaped human movement in ways we often forget. A reliable spring could become part of a seasonal path. A river crossing could decide where animals traveled and where hunters waited. A hidden pool in dry land could allow a group to survive a journey that would otherwise be impossible. Water was not just something people drank. It was one of the forces that drew the map of human life. In dry seasons, water became even more powerful. If one group knew a clean source, another group might want it. A good spring could mean survival for children, elders, and hunters, but valuable places attract competition. Clean water was not only a health problem, it could become a social problem, a territory problem, and sometimes a conflict problem. The same source that saved one family could bring another group too close. This is why early humans had to be more than strong. Strength mattered, but strength alone was not enough. A powerful hunter could bring meat, but an experienced elder could save the group by refusing one dangerous pool. A young person could run fast, but an older person might remember where water stayed fresh after many months without rain. In the ancient world, memory could be as important as muscle. And perhaps this is one of the things modern people misunderstand about our ancestors. They were not careless people wandering through nature. They were watching constantly. They had to be. Their world gave no forgiveness for repeated mistakes. A person who ignored signs did not stay lucky forever. A group that forgot a bad water source could suffer again. Their knowledge was built through loss as much as success. Someone drank from a silent pool and became sick. Someone camped too near the river and heard animals moving in the dark. Someone trusted floodwater and paid the price. These moments became warnings. Warnings became habits. Habits became survival. So when we imagine ancient humans at a river, we should not imagine a simple scene of people drinking without thought. We should imagine the pause before the drink, the eyes studying the bank, the hand touching the mud, the older person looking upstream, the group waiting, thirsty but careful, because they knew the surface could lie. That pause may have saved lives. It may seem small compared to hunting a large animal or surviving a storm, but this quiet moment happened again and again across human history. A person kneels, water shines. The body demands relief. The mind searches for warning. Drink or move on. Trust or wait. For most of our past, water had to be earned with judgment. Today, clean water has become so normal that we rarely think about it. We turn a handle, and the old danger disappears before it reaches us. The systems that protect us are hidden. Pipes, filters, storage, treatment, medicine, all of it stands between us and the ancient fear of bad water. But that comfort is new in the long story of humans. For early people, clear did not always mean clean. A shining river could carry sickness. A quiet pool could hold death in the mud. A good water source could attract predators, insects, animals, and rival groups. One drink could restore strength or take it away. That is why clean water was a deadly problem for ancient humans, not because they never drank it, not because they failed to understand its importance, but because they needed it so badly, and the safest-looking water could still hide danger. In the end, the old man at the riverbank was not stopping the child because he feared water. He was stopping him because he understood it. He understood that survival did not always belong to the strongest or the fastest. Sometimes it belonged to the one who waited one more moment, read one more sign, and refused to trust the surface too quickly. And somewhere deep in the memory of our species, that warning still remains. Clear water can shine like life, but in the ancient world, even clear water could carry a dark secret. If you enjoyed this hidden survival story, subscribe to the channel for more ancient human mysteries. Because the past was not simple. It was not easy, and many ordinary things we enjoy today were once matters of life and death.